Okay, this video is called Bye Bye Flyover, and that's with regard to the Midwest. The Midwest has been called flyover country. Sort of the rich people who live on the east and west coast will refer to the Midwest as flyover country. It's also called the Bible Belt because a lot of Christians live there. You know, naively, a lot of people have gone to public schools and they sort of think that free speech and freedom are normal. They're not. You know, freedom is a very rare thing in the world. If you go back all through recorded history, very few societies have had free speech. It's even not that common amongst the higher up wealthy people in most places. And so, you know, one of the things that promotes freedom is Christianity, because it says that all men are equal in the eyes of God, and there's not one person or group that intrinsically is above everyone else. And so that kind of promotes the idea of a free society. Christianity is, in reality, you know, I studied a lot about history of communism and slavery, and I think it is the only thing that could prevent communism. That's also why persons and corporations that want communism don't want Christianity. And, you know, there's other views as to, you know, what's the best way to manage the increasing size of the world's population and how to handle the different continents. For a long time now, the water's had F- in it, and that is not a good thing. Despite what the aluminum companies will tell you, it is not a good thing. It's a neurotoxin, lowers IQ, causes a lot of disease. Recently, you know, there was the chemical spill that ruined the river out there, and that's going into the Mississippi River. So that's water pollution. Makes that water less available for drinking and for irrigating crops. Also, the burn of those chemicals was not good for the people in that area or for the farmland in that area. I think all that stuff with the so-called balloons at that same time was just a distraction from really a big loss of the food supply. There were numerous other derailments that are not widely published. I was aware of at least 12, but I think there's many other ones in that similar time frame, and multiple food processing factories that were set ablaze. This is very likely to cause a food shortage. Okay, if you don't have good water, you don't have good farmland, you've got problems transporting things, you know. Some of the richest people have been buying up lots of farmland in advance of this, and you wonder, you know, did they perhaps have an idea that this was coming? Take a look up in the sky. If you look at a passenger plane, which I have done, I don't see these big things following after them, these big trails. But I do see these trails in another context, and that is a form of air pollution. Now, what's in these things, I've read about them quite a bit, a bunch of articles, and I keep coming up with aluminum, which is a neurotoxin, but I don't, and I hear of a whole bunch of other chemicals, but I don't know for sure if those are definitely routinely present. Processed food itself has got a lot of chemicals that are bad for your health. We talked about this in previous lectures, so we'll call that food pollution. There's a problem with air pollution. There's a problem with water pollution. You know, in sort of the educational public system, just sort of turns people into simple-minded conformists, weakens their ability to think. The whole cell phone always has to be on as sort of a tracking device. The GPS is a tracking device. The push for a cashless society and centralized control of the economic system, for electric cars also that can be taken over by remote control. This idea of a 15-minute electronic city, all of this stuff is what you might call a technocracy, centralized, a control. It's not for individual freedom, individual self-development, for self-actualization. If you look at what Lenin did, a lot of people, he made sure they did not have enough food. Stalin did the same thing. H did the same thing. Mao did the same thing. It's a common thing that is done for control and for pushing people back towards slavery. So hopefully that won't happen. And I could care less what any individual believes, but I do think as a society, sort of that Christianity stuff, love thy neighbor and follow the Ten Commandments, I think that makes the world a better place for everybody. So anyways, hopefully things will get better. There are some reasons for hope. There's more free ability to speak on some of these newer social media platforms. Twitter has improved. Things like the Truth on social has improved. The Rumble provides more free speech, and there's other video channels that are now providing. There's a tremendous amount of things you'll only find on one set of channels. You have to look at a wide variety of them if you want to get a comprehensive idea of what's going on. So I say these things because I hope we get to keep our freedom. I hope we get to keep Christianity. It generates a lot of beautiful literature and art and a lot of kindness and good behavior between people. It sort of celebrates life. It celebrates the family. It has respect for people. That's all good. So hopefully we'll be able to keep these good things. I think there's good reason to be optimism, but there's also good reason to be concerned. So anyways, hopefully things will get better.